Okay, right off the top, we are looking live at the stock market, where investors, you can see we're in positive territory. They appear to be happy with the April jobs report. Dow up more than 1%, 495 and counting. The labor market added 177,000 jobs last month, despite a lot of concern and a bumpy road on Wall Street due to tariffs. So that means that the unemployment rate remained unchanged at 4.2%. So we have much more on that in a moment from Kelly O'Grady, who is joining us live from the New York Stock Exchange. But first, we want to bring in CBS News White House reporter Olivia Rinaldi. Olivia, you've been digging into these newly released numbers in the budget proposal. We know it's just a wish list from the president going to Congress, but he does have Congress on his side, at least where Republican numbers are stacking up.
Certainly, Reed. This is the budget that the White House just released. And as you mentioned, it's a wish list. This is not a certainty. This is what they would like to see happen. Of course, Congress is the ones that actually sets the budget. But I've been ticking through some of the top lines here that have been sticking out to me. In particular, a couple of departments that are taking hits: the Education Department, the Housing and Urban Development Department, the Interior Department, the Energy Department. And a lot of these have to do with some of the money that was appropriated during the Biden administration under the Jobs and Infrastructure Act, under, some of his clean energy policies. The White House is asking now for a lot of those budget proposals to be rescinded. A couple of other things that stuck out to me that the White House is asking for Congress to enact in this latest budget: major cuts to the NIH and CDC, major cuts to FEMA, to NOAA, to TSA, reduced funding at Howard University. Those were the big things that stuck out to me in reading this big bullet point list that they just sent out about an hour ago. On the flip side, what they're asking for increased investing into, or increased money into rather, would be their Make America Healthy Again initiatives through HHS. The Pentagon is a big one, a huge increase in spending at the Pentagon. And also the FAA, quite notable there, as they're trying to make changes to the air traffic control system and the national airspace system in the United States. Also increases to the Department of Homeland Security, citing some two major things that will be coming up in the United States in the next 4 years, and that's the World Cup and the Olympics, saying they're going to need a lot more funding to secure the U.S. for that. So, Reed, we are still ticking through what this White House wish list actually is. We should have more for you later on that.
Well, we know that some of those talking points were brought up in the president's cabinet meeting that we stream live here on CBS News 24/7. We will see if Congress gives the green light to any of them. We know they control the purse strings. There's another headline that we've got to talk about as we end our week, and that's, of course, the departure of National Security Advisor Mike Waltz. How long will Secretary of State Marco Rubio have to double up on duties, and how will that work out as Rubio assumes those jobs that he once had?
Well, it's a good question of how long he'll be doing double duty. There's precedent for it, of course. Henry Kissinger pulled double duty as the National Security Advisor and Secretary of State for about 2 years in the 70s. But there's a lot on Secretary Rubio's plate right now. Not only is he the National Security Advisor, but he's also the National Archivist, and he's the head of USAID. So he's got a lot that he's working on. But the reason why it's so notable that these two positions are different is because the National Security Advisor role is largely a staff role. You're there to advise the president on what's going on in the world at any given moment, and it often requires you to be in close proximity to him, close physical proximity to him at least. The Secretary of State role is diplomatic. You're meeting with every country's leader, hosting leaders coming to the United States, but also traveling very often. So at some points, those two roles can really be at odds with each other. But for now, Secretary Rubio is going to fill those two roles. He is seen as someone who can help run the agenda from not only the White House, but the State Department as well, of what Trump's priorities are on a global scale. But there's a lot of names we've been hearing for people who could replace now acting National Security Advisor Secretary Rubio. And that could be Stephen Miller. He's Deputy Chief of Staff to the White House right now. He's been an integral part of the immigration initiatives coming out of this White House. And clearly, as we've seen them make that a top national security priority, that's something we could also see him potentially take on his plate, Reed.
So fascinating to see the evolution of that relationship between Rubio and the president. The president once famously called him Little Marco. Now he's giving him two very big jobs. That'll be fascinating to see what happens with the second job he's now been given. Let's talk about another headline. It's the April jobs report showing 177,000 jobs added, despite a lot of uncertainty in this environment of tariffs, especially those tariffs against China, but other nations as well. This is definitely the headline that the White House wanted today.
It is. Look, they're celebrating this news. This is positive news for them that the job market appears a little bit more healthy than what was anticipated. The White House sent out a statement about this morning. They said this is the second month in a row where the jobs report has beat expectations. Wages are continuing to rise and the labor force participation is increasing. They also went on to say this is exactly what they want to see. That's from White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt. So the White House is cheering this on. But what Kelly, I'm sure, is going to explain to you in the next segment is this is really at odds with what Trump has been pushing. He's been asking for a Federal Reserve rate cut, but now we're starting to see that the underlying data in the economy is perhaps a little bit more healthy than what was expected, especially when earlier in the week we got that disappointing GDP number that the White House, was trying to spin into something positive. It's hard for Jerome Powell to make this argument that there needs to be a rate cut next week when they all meet, given this surprisingly healthy jobs report. So even though the president is asking for that rate cut, this is still good news that they're cheering on. And as I said, I'm sure Kelly will do a much better job talking about this than I will.
All right. Well, Olivia Rinaldi, you do a great job at everything you talk about. It's always great to talk to you live from our nation's capital. Thank you so much.